Hello beautiful soul, I want you to moving forward ask yourself and observe yourself what is your attitude towards yourself when you make mistakes. Become very conscious about it. You know how you're treating yourself, how you're talking to yourself when you catch yourself making mistake, or when you realize, oh my god, I have made a mistake. How do you deal with yourself then? Do you start to guilt yourself? Do you feel like, oh my god, I've made this mistake, now I'm a bad person, all the bad things will happen to me, god will punish me, I will lose love, I will lose connection and all of that? All these things comes from being in an environment which was critical, being surrounded by parents and relatives who were very critical of you. I remember when I was growing up, I was having a toothache, and I was like, oh my god, I'm having a toothache, and my aunt told me that it's because you have done some really bad deeds in your past life. That is why you are going through this pain. And then I made it mean like, oh my god, it's that because the reason, and I believed it so strongly that, you know what, I am being punished by the god because I have done something bad in my past life. And with every little thing, I just started to make it mean like it's the result of my past bad karma and all of that. But this idea of god in itself is faulty, that god is something that is punishing us. No, god does not. Even if when we go through things, it is not to punish us, it is to make us see the change that we need to make, the choices that we need to make differently. It is never to punish us, but I started to believe that, and then I was like, oh my god, I made a mistake. And then I could never, so suppose as a child, if I'm just doing a stupid dance, like just moving my body, and then my aunt and everybody would like, that's not even a dance and all of that. So I just became very restricted in my body. Like I would not move. But as a child, you have to allow yourself to be imperfect. That's that. But right now also, as I'm like, so suppose if I'm not present enough with somebody and they need something, and I am definitely able to provide it to them, but because I'm not present enough and I'm distracted, like recently what happened was, some of the friends were over, and then she has a child, okay, she has two lovely children, and it suddenly the weather turned very differently, okay. So I was like, okay, I asked her daughter, do you need a jacket, but I did not ask that lady, because I wasn't even fully present. But thankfully she asked herself. But then I was like, oh my god, how stupid of me, and I was being very hard on myself. You see, we as human beings, we are a result of the environment we grew up in, the kind of mindset that we grew up around. If there was too much lack and people were not present and all, we learned all these things, and then we are the product of that. So whatever mistakes we make in the present moment, we don't have to be harsh on ourselves. If you were not present with somebody, if you were judging somebody in your mind, because just because you didn't know better, just because you make mistakes, you're not impure, okay. And in fact, when you do make mistakes, it's very important, this is very self-loving, to be able to forgive yourself and move forward fast. In my ancestry line, all the women, there is like some out of integrity patterns around money, and I started to watch myself where I am falling in them, because unconsciously we will become part of the habits and mindsets that are in our ancestral lineage, okay. So when we catch ourselves, being judging people that way, the way, was happening in our family, or we are judging people on what they are wearing, what house they live in, whether they are, or whatever, when you catch yourself doing that, give yourself grace, because you are just doing better, okay. And I know people who are watching me, you guys are so compassionate, you guys are really compassionate, and I do not want you to be so harsh on you if you ever judge yourself or other people, because I I know your heart. I know you guys are very compassionate. Okay? And build that attitude of forgiveness towards yourself and gentleness. Because when we are being gentle with ourselves in those moments when we catch ourselves making mistake, and when we realize, oh my god, we made that mistake in the past. One time, when I was little, I judged somebody because they had dark complexion, and when I realized it in my youth, early 20s, I was like so panicked. I was like, how did I judge somebody? And I was crying, and I was like, for weeks I was just crying. How did I treat somebody like that? I did not even look at that person because that guy was, dark and all of that. But then I forgave myself, that inner compassion came, and I realized, okay, I always saw my father not treating my mother very nicely because she was dark, and all the women in my family were treated very poorly because they did not had any beauty routines and all of that. They were just roam with their hair and their no self love, and so they felt disgusting within themselves, and men in the family always treated them very poorly, and these men, were treating the other women like that. And oh my god, why am I going about this topic in this video? But anyway, I'll just finish it. And now my father is very kind and compassionate, so I don't want any kind of judgment for him or anybody. Anytime I share any story from my family or from something happened, please don't judge, not from a judgment. I share it to drive a point home, not to create any kind of judgment to anybody. I have found that compassion for my aunt, who was who had like, as a child, just like, oh my god, I'm still healing from the experiences I had with her, but now I understand why she was the way she was. And the point of telling you this is not to, just choose compassion over and over again. No, I built this compassion by seeing my anger, by seeing my deep hatred, by doing those deeper inner child work, and like burning my ground, burning those people in the visualization that happens. If you want me to dive deep into with you like that, deep somatic healing, book a one-on-one session with me. You can also book intuitive guidance session, psychic guidance session. We can dive deep. Yeah, if your intuition is calling to find a deeper support with me, link of that is in my bio. But like, I had to do all of these things, and then I built that compassion. So the journey, wherever you are in your journey, respect that, but just, yeah, I know you are a very compassionate human, and I just want you to, when you are making mistakes, be more kinder, be more gentler to yourself, like treat yourself with so much softness and gentleness. Okay? You can also send me donation for my rent, food, and for my basic bills. It will help me a lot to get my fruits and my groceries, and the money adds up for my rent and for my basic bills. It will just help me a lot. Link of that also is in my bio. Yeah, thank you for being here. I love you. Support my channel, send a loving prayer that I grow, and yeah, all these nice things.